And so this one is a chart template that we created for Dr. Alex Elder when we did a webinar with him a couple of years ago. And basically what his ideal was that we wanted to look what is called the accumulative highs and lows. In other words, we're adding them up over a 5-day period. And what you can see here is as long as we stay above zero, right? Again, notice that here we're seeing that the number of new highs versus the number of new lows is staying above zero during this whole rally. But recently we did see it break below zero. And I kind of did what I did was I went back in history and looked and showed you where these pink boxes line up is where, the this accumulated index falls below zero. So this is kind of a warning sign to us that there's a momentum shift, or the internals of the market are starting to deteriorate. Now, there are other things that we can look at, and one of my favorite things that I like to look at the indexes in the sectors and look at something called the 50-day moving average. And the 50-day moving average, to me, I feel is a very strong indicator of a healthy market or a fatigue market or even a downtrending market. And so when we look at the index and the components, the sector components, and we look at the 50-day moving average, you can see there's a lot of red on here. In other words, if it says 19%, that means only 19% of the stocks in that particular sector are above the 50-day moving average. That means, almost 80% are below. And so when we start seeing a majority of the sectors below the 50-day moving average, to me, I think that is more of a cautionary tale, or at least telling me the market might be at risk.
Yeah. And, John, the interesting thing about the 50-day, and this is something I've been tracking, it's actually closed. The SPY has closed above the 50-day moving average for 131 consecutive days. Today would be 132 if it successfully closes above it. It looks like it is. However, I think it's important to take note. It actually fell below the 50-day. This is the first time that's happened since April. So definitely a weakening. Is it weak enough? I guess we'll find out.